Practice exam questions 4 and 5. So question 4, we want to expand and simplify these surds here. So we've got the square root of 2 minus 1 multiplied by the square root of 2 plus 2 here. So first we do square root of 2 times by the square root of 2 here, so it's the square root of 2 squared becomes 2. Square root of 2 times 2, so we have 2 square root of 2. Then we've got here minus 1 multiplied by square root of 2 is minus the square root of 2, and minus 1 multiplied by positive 2 is negative 2. So here we've got 2 minus 2 is nothing, and we've got 2 square root of 2 minus square root of 2. So it's minus 1 lot of square root of 2. It leaves us with 1 lot of square root of 2, and we just write square root of 2 there. So for question 2, we've got 2 square root of 5 minus 1 in brackets multiplied by brackets square root of 5 plus 4. So we're going to take our first term and multiply it by our first term in the second lot of brackets there. So here, when we're multiplying these together, 2 times 1 is 2. Square root of 5 times by the square root of 5 is going to end up with 5 there. So here, multiplying by our second term. So here we've got, it's going to be positive, they're both positive, 2 times 4, and we have square root of 5 there. Our second term, we have negative 1 multiplied by square root of 5 gives us negative square root of 5. Negative 1 times 4 gives us negative 4 there. So here 2 times 5 is 10, plus 2 times 4 is 8, square root of 5 minus the square root of 5 minus 4. Here, so 10 minus 4 leaves us with 6. 8 lots of square root of 5 minus 1 lot of square root of 5 leaves us with 7 square root of 5 there. So for part 3, we've got here 2 square root of 3 minus 5 all squared. So remembering, we're not squaring each individually, we're multiplying the whole term by itself. So 2 square root of 3 minus 5 multiplied by 2 square root of 3 minus 5. So we're going to take our first term and multiply by the first term in the second lot of brackets there. So here we multiply our whole numbers together. 2 times 2 is 4. Square root of 3 multiplied by square root of 3 is 3. Then we're going to do here whole terms together. We have negative 5 times 2 square root of 3. For our second term here, we've got negative 5 multiplied by 2 square root of 3, and here negative 5 times by negative 5. So here we've got 4 times 3 is 12, and here we've got minus 5 times 2 is 10 square root of 3, minus 5 times 2 is 10 square root of 3, minus 5 times minus 5 will give us positive 25. So here we've got 12 plus 25 gives us 37. Minus 10 lots of square root of 3 minus 10 more lots of square root of 3 gives us minus 20 square root 3 here. So now looking at question 5, we're wanting to express with a rational denominator. So remembering, we're going to use our opposite squares here. So remembering, we want to multiply the bottom here by square root of 3 minus square root of 2. We're not changing our number, so we use the same term at the top here. So we've got square root of 3 minus square root of 2. So essentially this divided by itself, so essentially we're multiplying it by 1, but we're changing our actual configuration of numbers around. So if we go through this, square root of 3 multiplied by square root of 3 gives us 3. Square root of 3 multiplied by negative square root of 2 here gives us, here negative square root 2 times 3 is 6. 2 square root of 2 multiplied by square root of 3 is positive square root of 6. So with these different squares, they cancel each other out. Here and then here we have positive square root of 2 multiplied by negative square root of 2, we're going to end up with negative 2. And it's 1 times the square root of 3 minus 1 times the square root of 2. So here we're having square root of 3 minus square root of 2. These two cancel each other out. 3 minus 2 gives us 1. Any fraction on 1, square root of 3 minus square root of 2 there. So for question 2, we'll just move down, there we go. So for 2, we have the square root of 2 on the square root of 5 minus 2. Again, we're going to use our difference of squares. So square root of 5 plus 2. Square root of 5 plus 2 there. So here, square root of 2 times square root of 5, we end up with square root of 2 times 5. Plus 2 times the square root of 2. Here we have square root of 5 multiplied by square root of 5 gives us 5. We can take a shortcut. Here we're going to have negative 2 square root of 5. Here we're going to have positive 2 square root of 5. And here we've got our negative 2 times positive 2 gives us negative 4. So here 2 times 5 is square root of 10 plus 2 square root of 2, all divided by 1. So here we're going to end up with square root of 10 plus 2 square root of 2. Looking at question 3 here, we've got 3 divided by square root of 7 minus 1. We're going to do the same as we do for our others. We're going to multiply with square root of 7 plus 1 and square root of 7 plus 1. So here in our numerator, 3 times square root of 7 is 3 square root 7. 3 times 1 is 3. In our denominator, square root of 7 multiplied by square root of 7 gives us 7. We know that's minus square root of 7 plus square root of 7. Then we've got negative 1 multiplied by positive 1 is minus 1 here. So we end up with 3 square root of 7 plus 3, all on 6. And we can simplify this out. Everything here will divide by 3, giving 1, giving 1, and giving 2. So we can have square root of 7 plus 1, all on 2.